Yo, check it out, everybody. We are on Team TV. So go ahead, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. There are a lot of people you come across. Some leave their mark, some fade away. Here's the story of a man who started his career at age 14 as a shoe salesman, and today he is one of the biggest F&B players that our country has ever seen, and the best in the business. He believes we are still in the infancy of the F&B boom. Is it a boom? Is it a bubble? Or is it start of something revolutionary that will last for decades to come? Ladies and mental gents, here's to a man who needs no introduction, the CEO of Impresario Entertainment and Hospitality, Riyaaz the Hustler Amlani. Let's get to it.
All right, so do you think if you were that kid right now, would you be able to take those same chances that you took when you started the entire establishment?
No, I think that if I was that kid right now, I would be very jaded, and I would not have done any of those things that I did. And I think that's kind of sad that you progressively become worse at what you do just because you gain more experience.
Right.
Is that weird?
Yeah, well, it's a curse, and you know,
It's not a gift.
it's a gift and a curse.
It's not a
in
gift.
way.
No, it's not.
Well,
I think enthusiasm overrides
absolutely. That gut feeling to
experience.
go ahead and do
Yeah, absolutely.
A word of advice for the dreamers that who look up to you.
Advice is not my vice.
Yeah, but
don't do that.
Okay, just go ahead and give them a shot of espresso from your side.
Yeah, I mean, just, go come, have a good time. That's it. Come have a beer. Don't open up a restaurant. There are better ways to have a good time. There are better ways to blow up your money. Go to Vegas. Throw it up on horses. Do whatever. Don't get into the restaurant business.
That's what we just
Now
said.
get into the restaurant business if it keeps you up at night, and if you really enjoy, working 18 hours a day, standing in a kitchen, sweating on construction sites. It's not a glamorous business. Just get into it because you really are really passionate about it. Do not get into it if you think it's a glamorous business, because that is going to be
That's
hell.
the downfall of everything at the end of the day, right?
Yes, yes.
So, do you ever think if you didn't go through whatever you went through, you wouldn't be who you are today?
I would be who I am today, but I would not be a restaurateur, or I would not be sitting here talking to you today if I hadn't gone through.
So, let's face it, right? At 17, you opened your own shoe shop.
Yeah, 17? Was I? I think I was 16.
16.
Yeah, sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like 14 to 16, you worked at Metro.
14 to 16, of course, I worked in Metro Shoes. I worked as a shoe salesman. And of course, like every 16-year-old, I thought I knew everything there was to know about everything.
Right.
So I said, now enough. I don't want to work for other people. I want to open up my own shoe shop. And the only place I could afford was this little place in Sion,
Right.
which is now an ATM. So
Yes.
you can guess the size of it. Yeah.
So, any similarity between the food retail and the fashion retail that you've found in your journey?
Well, I would say that when it comes to food,
Or F&B as a whole?
yeah, I definitely get my size in restaurants. In fashion, I do not get my size, but I think both. I think the similarity between both is that it's not about the product, but it's about how the product makes you feel.
Right.
I think that is very important. I don't think that people wear something because they are trying to hide their nakedness. I think the people wear what they wear is a form of expression. And I think that similar with food, you're not going to a restaurant because you're hungry and you want food.
Right.
You're going there for for lack of a better word, a social experience. You're going there because how that place makes you feel, and the kind of people you're going to land up meeting there, and the vibe that you're going to see over there.
Is that how the word social came through?
That's exactly how the word social came through. What I realized was that the millennials, so Mocha was a coffee shop and a
That was
hangout
the Gen
for,
X
and then
hangout
the
spot.
social was for the millennials.
Right.
And what I realized was that, the millennials, everything they do is social, and if it's not worth sharing,
Yeah.
it's not worth doing.
Right.
So I think that being social was a big part, and is a big part of the millennials' life. And people work while they're being social, and they're being social while they're working. So we have Smokehouse Delhi. We just launched Flea
Yes.
Bazaar, which
Yes.
is very, very exciting. And we
Yeah,
have
that looks like something that Riyaaz Amlani would definitely have, like various experiences of food, like music over there.
live music venue, lots of different food, a great fun bar, just a hangout space. I think that there's a lot of energy now in the food space from where I started off 18 years ago. There was not so much option. It was easier to become a famous restaurateur when I started off 18 years ago because there were 2 restaurants. So I mean, if you had one, you'd be famous. But I think now there's a lot of clutter, and there's also a lot more awareness. People are demanding a lot more. They're not easily pleased. I mean, if I had to put out the products I did at that point of time today, I would be chased away with a stick.
Let me take you back. Let's just rewind back a little bit.
Shall we?
No.
Not
let me not take you back. Let me rewind back and take you down the memory lanes, right? I actually did an episode with Sameer Malhotra.
Oh, Daddy.
And he gives a lot of credit to you for helping him start Daddy's Win Song Wednesdays. Any memories that you have?
Oh yeah, I mean, those were some really fun days. I think Sameer Malhotra, Ulf Daddy, who everybody calls Daddy because he's this gregarious spirit and he's this PO to everyone, kind of a guy. And honestly speaking, he got me into music. I think he might tell you otherwise, but the truth of the matter is that he was somebody who was extremely passionate about music. He lived with musicians. His friends were musicians. And all he wanted to do was give them a stage, and he was so passionate about it. And the independent music scene was evolving. Sameer was part of the Bollywood scene, but he was also much more passionate about the indie music scene. So it was a great collaboration. We had some really great times. Had some really great bands. And I think that was the first time I realized the power of music. Not just a restaurant, but how food and drinks and music all went hand in hand.
How they all intertwined and became an experience itself, right?
Absolutely.
So what is Impresario doing now to improve the nightlife experience in this industry?
So, well, Impresario, of course, we are through all our venues, we like to promote live music. But what we do through NRAI is to let the government know how important this is, how important the soft power of a nation is in how a country is perceived, right? How important a vibrant, thriving nighttime economy is for the entire economy. It's a stated fact. Most visited cities in the world have one thing in common. Whether it is Dubai, which is a creation 30 years ago, or whether it is Paris, which is a 600-year-old city, one thing in common is that they all have a thriving nightlife.
Do you believe in the quote, "My network is my net worth"?
My network is my net worth. Well, I would have a lot of net worth right now if that was the case.
So even with the entry of El Caratan buying a whopping 60 to 65% of Impresario Entertainment and Hospitality at an assumed figure of 375 crores, is that a good number or?
It's a little short, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. These papers don't write the entire thing. Don't blame me for it.
That's why I stopped reading the Economic Times a long time ago.
This is safe to say there's a huge expansion on the way. And I know once you said your market is India and you're going to focus over here. But with the, entry of someone like an El Caratan, which is LVMH and their financial arm and a PE investor from New York, is it going to happen that we are going to expand outside India as well?
Well, I'm not going to say we will never do it, but it is not currently something that we are considering. I think that I feel right now, and at the beginning of the 2020s, I think we are at the cusp of our own renaissance. And I think that there's no other place to be right now than in India. And in spite of everything, that
there's a huge demographic to cater to as well around in the country.
I think there are 700 million people below the age of 30. Yeah, that's unprecedented. You're one of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a cause of a few of them, actually.
Well, what about the stock markets or something like that, though?
So eventually, the aim is to go public. The aim is to build a large company. The aim is to be I think food services in this country is nascent right now.
Right.
And I think, the potential is limitless. If you just think about it, people are eating out in India 4 times a month, right?
Yeah.
People in Singapore are eating out 55 times a month. Now, if you see the headroom for growth is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And I think the potential is limitless. And we're just starting off. And India is now going to enter its 2 golden decades. And it's going to be amazing. Really, I think India is just going to explode. It's got its own voice. And I think, of course, the economic power is for sure. But I think that India's soft power is going to explode soon.
So when you started in 2001 with Mocha, 7 years down, we had the recession that hit. How much did it impact the F&B industry?
So 2008 was a terrible year. It was really sucky.
And how long did it take for everyone to recover from that as well?
I think 2010 we'd forgotten about 2008.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, it was quick. And that's a resilience.
But it felt like a long time.
Yeah, it felt like a long time for the world. But I think India was kind of insulated from the complete crisis that could have happened. And that's in part, credit goes to strong economic fundamentals that India had.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of insular from the whole world global crisis. So India bounced back pretty quickly, and like I said, its fundamentals are pretty strong.
Tell me about a few joints that Riyaaz Amlani would go to back in the day. When you just wanted to chill, grab
A joint that I've been to, or
joints that you've been to, you would chill
joints
at.
that I've been to. Okay.
Grab a couple of drinks with your friends back in the day.
Oh wow. So when I started off my illustrious career in partying, that time it was all about nightclubs. And it was all about South Bombay. There was
absolutely.
Bandra was. What are you talking about? Where Bandra? Who? There was no C-Link. Coming here took forever.
Yeah.
The epicenter of the world was Nariman Point and Colaba, and so there were nightclubs. It was 1900s at the Taj, the Cellars at the Oberoi's, and I think Studio 52 had just shut down, and then there was RGs that had come out in Intercontinental. So partying was only in nightclubs early, right? And
these were all 5-star properties.
This is only 5-star properties. And somewhere in 1992, the first independent pub opened up in Bombay called Rasna Pub. Rasna Pub.
Wow.
And it was in Churchgate, and that started off the pub revolution. And then suddenly there were pubs everywhere, and then Ghetto opened up, and Toto's opened up, which are still around, and then people then left the 5 stars and they started going to standalone pubs.
Tell me about the newest baby that you have, that is Flea Bazaar Cafe. What's going on with that, and how did that entire venture come to your head?
So Flea Bazaar is something which is it's our newest baby, and that's always tends to be closest to you.
Yeah.
Flea Bazaar, I think, is a kind of an incubator for emerging young talent in the food business, and what we want to do is we want to try and provide a platform for people who are doing something interesting and unique in the food space.
Right.
And, and this concept of internet forward restaurants. So we are trying to give them a shop floor so that they can get direct feedback from the customer. So a lot of the restaurants over there, which are internet only, such as Goila's Butter Chicken or the Bori Kitchen or Som, which was only in Babulnath and Fix.
Right.
I think the idea was really to kind of bring them and introduce them to a new audience with their own shop front, so the brand gets a little bit more recognition. And I think that the effects have been crazy. I think for me, it's not a food court, but it's like a music festival.
Right.
Where there's a band performing and there are these little food stalls around it. For me, it's a permanent.
So are we going to see a couple of more popping up around?
I hope so. Yeah.
3 things that you love and 3 things that you hate about your job.
I get to indulge myself. I love everything about it. And I love meeting new people.
All right.
I like seeing them having a great time.
3 things that you hate about it.
3 things that I hate about it. I have to meet people. I indulge myself. And I love what I do too much.
All right. What's your favorite social in India?
My next one.
Give me top 3.
Next one.
Give me top 3.
Top 3. I think Horsecar Social just because it's got a magnificent view. Koramangala Social because it's beautiful and open and it's stunning to look at. And I think I'm going to be rather fond of Carter Road Social as well.
All right, because it's the newest one coming through.
Yeah, and I needed to plug it in. So,
which is my favorite social?
Which is your favorite? Car Social.
There you go, man. How do you know that?
And I'm Urdu bhi badhiya.
What genres and style of music do you enjoy?
I like an eclectic bunch. I don't like death metal. But other than that, I listen to anything.
Yeah?
Yeah. And not a big fan of boy bands. So. But other than that, everything else.
So there was no Backstreet Boys in your playlist ever?
No, there was no Backstreet, there were no boys, nothing.
No boys, none of that?
No, none of that.
So, top 5 artists?
The new kids on the block, maybe.
Top 5 artists in your playlist now?
Top 5
Indian
artists in my playlist now. Abida Parveen, Kendrick Lamar.
All right.
Dire Straits forever, Pink Floyd forever, and I like Dan Holmes as a bassist. He plays some interesting music. Yeah. So.
Okay, I was surprised with Lamar over there though.
Why?
Which is your favorite album out of Lamar?
Damn.
Right.
Yeah.
You heard How to Pimp a Butterfly?
Yes,
all
of course.
That, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Mad City as well.
He's a crazy guy. Yeah, I like his music.
So, apart from football and old fashioned, 3 more things that Riyaaz Amlani really enjoys.
I like motorcycling.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a closet fan of Ghalib. I love his poetry, and I love hanging out with my kids. It's my favorite thing to do.
All right. 3 favorite drinks out of the social menu.
I like the Old Smoke.
Okay.
I like Coke and Cane, and I like, of course, the LLITs.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, born and brought up in Bombay, tell me 3 of your favorite joints ever that you've chilled in.
Besides Greenfield?
Yeah. Besides Greenfield, yeah. You can come Greenfield as well, right?
Yeah, I love Greenfield. Yeah. I learned a lot of things over there. I love Britannia. The owner just passed away a couple of days ago. Yeah, unfortunately. But he was an institution. Yes. He built an institution.
It's full of energy, right?
Yeah, full of energy. You go in there and he's able to take your entire order in 30 seconds or less and tell you stories.
All of that.
A little fresh lime sweet to beat the heat, and it would be amazing. So Britannia for sure. I like Bombay Canteen for their interpretation of modern Indian. It's no frills, no bells, no whistles. Just really plain, honest, good food, but done in a very elegant and refined manner. I like the kebabs on the streets of Bombay. Yeah.
All right, Riyaaz, thank you so much for kicking it with us.
Good to see you, man.
It was amazing to chat with you, and I'm glad this happened and it happened the way it happened and when it had to happen. There's nothing beating that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Looking forward to much more from Impresario, you, and
catch you soon at Carter Road Social.
Yes, Carter Road Social will be just here, and he's gonna actually have a movie on himself called The Hustle of Riyaaz. Coming out soon. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Stay tuned. Press like, subscribe, share this with your friends because we chill with real cool people and Kickin' It is the place to be.